It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington Show.
Welcome one and all. It's time, once again, for the Andy and Rem Show, episode 167, The Mouth of MORK. For anyone who's been playing the Remington's Blinds game, get your predictions in now. Are Remington's Blinds open or closed this week? It's been a couple of weeks off, so it's time. If you haven't got your predictions in yet, it's too late because, boom, look at that. Remington Blinds are in fact open. And you can probably see as well that I've got some very fancy technology going on here. The powers of computer technology have enabled me to transpose myself against the thumbnail there. Very fancy. You wouldn't see Remington with that kind of technology, would you?
No, but you do see Remington with the body of a god himself, as I've been working out all week in Spain. Getting tested for COVID every 5 minutes.
So you've been working out in Spain, not lounging about on the beach in Spain?
Well, I've been dieting and I've been going for a lot of walks. And there was a set of dumbbells there, so I did some dumbbell work. So, I don't know, I'm feeling quite jacked up at the minute.
Well done.
There you go.
So, in our absence of a couple of weeks, there hasn't been a huge amount of developments, but we do have a vulture to look at. So, this is the Mouth of MORK, a Cruel Boys character who claims to be best buddies with Kragnos, therefore passes on the word of Kragnos to the forces of the Cruel Boys. Whether it's the true word or not remains to be seen.
Now, who's Kragnos again, Andy?
Kragnos is the totally not a beast man who is leading the forces of destruction at the moment.
There's a giant centaur that looks like a Centigore beast man, but he's really a sort of a prophet or god of destruction. Am I right?
He's certainly treated as such, yes.
So is he like bigger than Mork and Gork? Or is
I
he
don't
like
see how.
Is he just like real, whereas they're sort of like, you know, more mythology?
I think that's probably closer to the truth. But this guy, riding a giant vulture into battle, I don't remember seeing this kind of creature being used as a mount in Warhammer before.
It's kind of really cool, right? It's like a giant buzzard.
It's different from the usual that we get with the wyverns and the dragons and such. So let's see what it says here. The Corpse Ripper Vulture is one of the most terrifying monsters we've seen yet in the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. The creature's grouchy nature means only the most strong-willed of Cruel Boys could hope to get close enough to capture it, which is reflected in the Vulture's deadly combat power. On the battlefield, Killer Beak tears through enemy ranks with beak and claw, while the Mouth of MORK wreaks arcane destruction. So great is Gob Sprak's magical might that the crotchety shaman has bested many sorcerers in the past, including a great Lord of Change.
Interested.
That would have been a bit of a feathery battle there, wouldn't it? This thing against the Lord of Change.
Yeah. I mean, how would you best the Lord of Change? Be interesting to reenact that, wouldn't it?
Only pay with the exact money, I suppose.
How big do you think this thing is?
Well, big, I would assume.
Ooh.
Look at this. We've got some fancy pictures here. So we've got a little, what looks like maybe a hobgroth or something on the back, doing some kind of maintenance.
Yeah, that's more like a grot, I suppose. Goblin, I'd
Yeah,
say.
that's definitely more grotty, isn't it? Looking at the nose and everything there. Is that a severed head?
No, that's him poking his head out of the flag.
But he's carrying something on the
Oh yes,
right hand side there that
yeah,
seems
so
to be
he is.
seepage.
Yeah. There's a bag of eyeballs there, if I'm not mistaken.
That does look like a collection of eyeballs, actually.
Nice.
Interesting.
Is that a cooking pot as well? And
There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on the back there. All the things you would need, really, for magical concoctions when riding on the back of this vulture. And then here, the staff appears to be a hand with some of the fingers down.
What's that sign mean? Doing that?
Maybe it's like a claw sign of some kind. Oh, let's see. Thanks to his experience hunting down powerful wizards for his trophy rack. There you go. He's developed a particular knack for countering the enemy's magic. So all those things on the back are from enemy wizards then.
Oh.
Or are those just the things on the top? So we've got a wizard's head and a couple of hands. What about these things hanging off the back? There's a hand. Yeah, so it must all be part of his trophy collection. Skulls, wizard's eyeballs, presumably. That definitely looks wizardly, that one in the middle.
Yeah, William Matthews says there's a mandrake root there, and
Look at that. I bet that's a feather from the Lord of Change right there as well.
Color out of space. Hey there, man. He says terrifying, more like tired. He likes the model though. He's got a point there. I wouldn't say it's terrifying. It looks like it's sort of a bit knackered, right?
It looks like it's gone through a few episodes of the Forest of Rem, carrying you around, I think.
I like it. I kind of like it, man. What's the belly of the buzzard like? It looks like some kind of breastplate there.
Yeah, you don't really get a good view of the belly of the beast, do you? It's hard to tell whether that's like a big skin flap sort of area, or whether it's a piece of armor covering its abdominal region.
So do you think this is a centerpiece then for the Cruel Boys army?
It certainly looks that way, and you've got a combat version of it as well here, with a different character atop it, and a nice spiked helmet on its head there.
Nice.
Which version are you leaning towards then?
Well,
model-wise, of course. We haven't seen the rules for this beast yet.
I think I like the wizardy one, but I think experience tells me that the wizardy guys on mounts aren't actually that good, especially in combat. So it's all right them sort of flying around doing things, and unless things have changed, you'll have to tell me, Andy. Now you've got the new set of rules, whether wizards have multiple spells they can cast rather than just, a basic 2 or 3.
Well,
so yeah, I would lean like the modeler in me prefers the wizard, but the competitor in me might prefer the other one.
Let's see how long it takes this technology to see through this book as I hold it up. Find out. Oh, there you go. It's actually allowing you to see it. Oh, there we go. A bit of glitching there. But that's the rulebook there from Dominion, the core set, which I've started to assemble, by the way. And in fact, I can show you a couple of the things I've assembled so far. A couple of the Stormcast. So we've got this lady, this winged Stormcast warrior.
Oh wow, is that finished?
The assembly is complete on this one. And the same for this guy. This flag bearer. I believe this is the Knight Vexilor. The old one only used to have a kind of a totem looking thing. This one's actually got a full banner. So they're assembled. Moving on to the rest of the next. And I understand that you're interested in taking on the Cruel Boys.
Yeah, I think so. We did a deal, didn't we? I was going to give you some of my Stormcast, and you're going to give me those Cruel Boys, no?
Well, that may have come up in the negotiations at some point.
Or was I going to pay you in Bitcoin? I can't remember.
I think you're definitely going to pay me in some Rem coin. That was definitely part of the deal. So, not only have I got those waiting for you, there's also your trolls from Troll Soup still.
Ooh. Well, do you want some more Stormcast? Because I've got a bunch from my Mortal Realms magazines.
You know
Which
what? We'll have to go through everything you have in the Stormcast off air and see if any of the things actually worth anything to me from there. Because, as you know, I do have a vast Stormcast collection already.
yeah, the problem is, do I want to give you stuff that you're then going to use against me, like those guys with the crossbows and those Stormcast with the bows that are really annoying?
Sounds like a good idea to me. Now then, before we go on to anything else, first of all, hello to our wonderful audience. It seems like plenty of people have been liking the video vigorously, as I requested, and subscribing generously as well. We've got quite a packed house in there, comments flowing in. Colin says, over-sculpted in my opinion. That is an accusation that's been levelled at a lot of GW releases recently. There's too much going on. And you could make that case, but on a giant model like this, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, I love painting giant models. I really do. They don't get tedious like painting. You know, if you got a regiment of, like, say, 10 figures, it's still a little bit of a chore doing all 10. But if you've got 20 or 30, then it's much more of a challenge, I think, than doing a large model, because each bit of the large model is unique, isn't it? So
If you've got 10 individual little guys and each one of them has their own belt with different heads hanging off it, it can turn into a chore to paint rather than when it's just a centerpiece. On the other hand, what about the argument that the best artists know when to stop and they know what to take away? Something to be completed. It's very easy to add to something. It's difficult to take away to improve it. And that sometimes less is more. Or less is MORK in this case. Do you think there's a case for that here? Do you think any of this detail could have been taken away without losing anything?
Well, I don't know. I think it's all stylized, isn't it? Nicely with the sort of Swamp Boys look. So, yeah, I mean, I've still got an orca on a wyvern, the Finecast miniature. So I think, that's still got a kind of comedy thing to it. These Cruel Boys don't look comedy, really, do they? They kind of look a bit shabby, but I suppose they're meant to look that way, right?
Yeah,
And
they do not. They do not have a huge amount of comedy going on. And Colin says, I struggle to find a focal point on these models. Interesting. I think this partly in the paint job, though. I think probably the creature's head would be painted in a way that would make that a focal point, and that would be nice. The wings, of course, can be way more colourful than this as well.
Also, in front of the shaman, there's like a little wooden. What is that in front of him? It's like a wooden. Is it a wooden table or something? If you took that away, you'd see more of him then. So it might look a bit less over detailed then. You could change the what's on his. Is that a staff? The staff's really busy. I'll give you that.
It is actually. There's a lot going on there.
The bottom half of the bird looks fantastic, I think.
Do you think the simpler part of the model is actually helping it here?
Yeah,
rather
I love
than
those legs.
The very, very elaborate and detailed top half.
Donald, I appreciate the comment, mate. Thanks for writing. Donald says pot grot and stab grot aren't comedy enough. He's right. They are pretty comedy. I do love them models, and I will be painting those soon.
They've got They've got funny elements, haven't they?
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. I was talking out my house, really, wasn't I? There.
Well, I don't know. I think the overall aesthetic of the range is more serious. But if you look at, for example, old classic fantasy films or even more recent ones, even the really serious evil factions will occasionally have like a comedy character in their midst, won't they? Like a little butler or something.
Yeah. No, these are. Do you know these are growing on me? They are growing on me, and they'll go well with my Gobblerpalooza. Them guys. I mean, I've got this full Gloomspite Gits army ready to take revenge on you, Andy. So that should be exciting. I can remember how to play them.
So, shall we show people what we've been up to, basking in the sun in different places the last week or several days?
If you must,
Okay,
yes.
first of all, let's have some pictures from the Remington adventure in sunny Spain, apparently. And it looks like you're trying to take a bull by the horns there, but you're actually gripping it by the cheeks.
Hello, Bad Squidder Games. Oh, look at that fine specimen there of a matador taking the bull by its horns, metaphorically taking the stock market by its horns. What do you think of that, Andy?
Well, I think you could have grappled those horns a little bit more securely. You're not really in the right place.
But that's outside of a real bull ring that was built in the 18th century, by the way, in a place called Ronda in Spain. And my wife wouldn't let me inside it because she's against animal cruelty. So that's the closest I could get, I'm afraid.
Well, I think that's fair enough.
Uh,
I think bullfighting is one of those things that most of the world will be pleased when that's left behind.
Yes, we were in Andalusia.
And it looks like you're in the water here, and that water looks very clear.
I can't see that picture yet, Andy, because I
It'll
need to
pop
fast
up in a
forward.
moment.
There. Oh my God, look at that! It's Aquaman there, isn't it? Jason Momoa.
Well, it's maybe his long lost, like, impoverished cousin.
Well, that is in Alcadesa. And in the background, you can see the Rock of Gibraltar, and on the left, what you can't see is in the distance. You can see Morocco, the north part of Africa.
And then
It's
what about this?
absolutely beautiful.
This looks like a bit of an evening shot of some rather scenic looking structures.
I know, mate. It looks like the front cover of an album from the 1970s, doesn't it? Like Hotel California or, Eric Clapton's Ocean Boulevard album. But yeah, that's the scenery where I was staying. So, to be honest, Andy, I didn't really want to come back. We came back to Manchester and we're flying over, and it was just like, England looks really Trumpy.
Oh no.
All the houses look like these like cement boxes. Whereas over there, everything was really stylish, man.
Well, I'm sure if you went to some of the less touristy kind of areas, then I'm sure you would have found similar looking accommodations.
Yeah, this is true. We were in a nice place, to be fair.
Let's see. So, what are the pictures have you sent me to display here? Is that Mrs. Remington there for a walk on the beach?
That's Mrs. Remington, and that is sunrise. She's walking towards the Rock of Gibraltar. I'd forgotten something, so I sent her back to get it. So that's just her making the journey all the way to that rock.
All the way to the Rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah, she's good like that.
What was it you forgot?
Was
it an issue of White Dwarf, perhaps?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, it might have been Mortal Realms magazine, or maybe just some nasal spray. Or some TCP, because we got bitten by mosquitoes quite a lot. But
Fair
you can
enough.
see there's very deserted beaches, which is, really special. And the water was really cold, by the way, because it's the Atlantic Ocean, I believe.
Was it a lovely sun-drenched adventure, though?
Yeah, it was fantastic, man.
What kind of temperatures were you getting there?
I didn't check, but you can see by my tan. Look at this golden olive tan that I've got now. It's I think it must have been 30 something.
Well, I don't know if I've got much of a tan, but I also spent a few days in the sun. And you can see this lovely shot of where I was. This picture taken from the top of Blackpool Tower.
Blackpool, I was going to say Blackpool.
Indeed, so that was quite sun-drenched as well. Not quite as warm as sunny Nottingham, thankfully, because otherwise I would have melted for a couple of days walking up and down the seafront, with its many, many, many chip shops, many donut shops, hundreds of hotels.
Was it very busy?
It was quite busy. The weekend it was. On the Saturday it was getting very busy, and the summer holidays haven't even started for real yet, have they?
So, Andy, one struggles to imagine you in the sun because for all the years I've known you, you've been somewhat, I don't know, I guess a little bit reclusive, if you wouldn't mind me saying, but it just seems like ever so, like recently, you've really kind of, I don't know, you're blossoming, Andy. And it's
Well,
like the
do you want
sunshine.
evidence of me being out and about in strange places?
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go. At the top of the tower, standing on the glass floor.
Wow.
Look at that.
Look at that, the adventures of Andy and his other half. Wow.
And
What are you
look.
wearing shin pads?
Those are just long orange socks, which I pull up specifically because they've got like Simpsons pictures on them. Can't really see them here though.
It's an interesting color match there. It's luminous green and luminous orange. It's like, yeah. What are the paints? Yeah, I've got paints to match those somewhere in my tray.
Colour matching my wardrobe live on the show.
Is that Troll Slayer orange? No, it's not. It's even brighter. It's Fire Dragon Bright, with a yellow highlight, and then you've got some sort of bilious green. They don't really do that anymore, do they?
No.
They don't do a green moot green. No, moot green with some yellow mix in there, maybe.
Now, the next picture, I will have to warn people, anyone who's prone to maybe feeling a bit sick when they see heights, because the next picture is actually looking through the glass floor all the way down.
Flippin' heck. That's really scary, actually. I don't know. I don't know about Andy. I think you're very brave. It's
Well-
almost like I put you up there with Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos flying into space.
Yep, I just spent my billions climbing to the top of Blackpool Tower. Rather than going into space, it was a much better use of the money.
Could you feel the wind up there?
Not in this particular section, because this is like glassed off. When you get to the very top, and there's kind of netting around the fence just to probably stop people throwing things over the edge. I imagine that was a problem years ago.
I noticed that your female friend there has foxes on her dress, so maybe she's a Leicester City Football Club fan.
Well, that is not the case, but good guess. But those are foxes. And
In fact, you look like you're the lower half of Spider-Man there a bit.
what about this picture?
Sorry?
So, this is me, surrounded by sea creatures. Some Edeneth Deepkin, if you will.
Oh, is this a hint, Andy, to what you might be starting next?
It's
Collection?
actually not at all. It's like the complete opposite of what I've got next, because I've got start collecting Caradron Overlords right here.
Ooh, is that new?
It's not a new product, it's new for me though.
Okay.
After I got rid of
alright.
my unpainted Caradron in the past.
But
So-
Andy, you're pulling out all the stops on this date. You took her up, you took her down, took her underwater.
Well, underwater, what
deep.
about just paddling in the sea? Dun dun dun, evidence of me going in the water. What do you think
Wow.
of that for bravery?
That's amazing, Andy. Like, I can see the years of grey just slowly ebbing away from your skin, and nice tanned flesh coming through. Almost.
Almost. There's no evidence of grey anywhere, especially in my facial hair. Those are just wisdom hairs.
Yeah, they are Caradron Overlord glasses for sure, aren't they? Those are goggles. You almost could be a sea pirate.
So I think you'll agree, we both look like we had magnificent sun-drenched adventures this week.
Bad Squidder Game says she actually heard you giggling. Now, I've never heard you laugh before. I've seen your mouth open into the shape of a laugh. I've never actually heard you laugh. So a giggle, that's something
I
must
don't
be
know about
good.
that. I would dispute that. I don't think that's real.
Brad says there's a shark behind you. Maybe that's slightly out of shot, but that would be funny.
There was a shark in the previous picture, but not in the sea, thankfully. There was a lot of jellyfish, though, around Blackpool, so it wasn't ideal paddling conditions.
Oh dear.
And
What's this?
this is a 40k thing. I suppose we have to look at it. Introducing the Thousand Sons infernal masters who forge unholy pacts with demon kind. Blah, blah, blah.
Are these baddies then?
He looks like a baddie, doesn't he? He looks very chaotic.
Sort of
Tzeentchian.
Got an Egyptian vibe there, really.
He's got the... I can't even remember what those are called. Those little Tzeentchian creatures floating around him.
Flappers, flyers.
Tzeentchian floaters, we're calling them, for the purposes of this video. So, floating around him, it's new, it's 40k, therefore, we're not going to look at it for too long. Next. Oh, what's this? A bit of a stock chart here. So, with that, it's time for...
Remington's Millions.
There we go, Remington's Millions. What's all this about?
Well, Will Matthews says screamers, and yeah, one might have wanted to scream over the past couple of weeks because there's been a huge stock market shake-up, Bitcoin shake-up. Everything's been sort of headed downwards. I think everyone's gone on holiday in July and realised that the prices have gone up, so they've sold all their shares. Somehow, Games Workshop's managed to keep its head above the water, so to speak, and although it's not hitting all-time highs, it's certainly up there. As you can see in the yearly chart there, we're hitting £113.82 per share. I, of course, averaged in with my 0.1 share in Games Workshop at £92. So I'm currently something like 25% up. And currently waiting for a big dip before I buy any more. But the problem is, Andy, I don't think it's going to dip anytime soon because it's a very profitable company, and with the announcement that they're going to be doing the subscription-based TV channel of Warhammer,
That is the future.
yeah,
Everything's going subscription-based.
Exactly, because it's recurring revenue. So you've got tens of thousands, maybe potentially more than that, of people paying £5 or $8 a month. That's phenomenal. So if anything, Games Workshop should keep rising. It's my belief. But yeah, it's not financial advice, just opinion.
Well, there you go. Don't take Remington's financial advice to the bank. But you can probably just take it to the butchers.
Well, put it this way. If you'd have put, I don't know, £100,000 in Games Workshop when I did, when I bought my 0.1 shares, you would have made 25 grand. So that's not so
So
bad,
if
is it?
you're already
Like that.
if you're already very wealthy, you could have made some more wealth, is what he's telling you.
Yeah, but you got to start small. You got to start somewhere, and it's just it takes time. It takes time. Even I started just with a few pounds, and well on my way to rolling in those millions, Andy.
Remington's Millions will be a reality one day, and then the whole community will get to share in the profits, won't they? Because we all helped put you there. That's how it works.
We'll see, eh? We'll see.
We'll see about that, indeed. So, stunning new Warhammer Age of Sigmar scenery captures the dangers of the Dawnbringer Crusades. So, shall we have a look at some spicy new scenery?
Oh wow, that looked like Devoted of Sigmar kind of vibes.
Well, it's kind of didn't it? I don't know if we should read too much into that part of it, but look at this. We've got a bit of a tower. What are they calling this one? So, this is where the foundations of the new Dawnbringer settlements are laid. You can see evidence of these ancient cities in the scenery itself. The pillars on which the Nexus siphon stands been built to different heights to accommodate the ruins upon which the artifact is perched.
Oh, so you get this in the next box set that's coming out, Andy. So you bought this big Dominion thing, right? And that's the limited edition, I believe. And the next box set next 3 box sets that are coming out are different assortments of the miniatures that you get in Dominion, but cheaper and with a bit of scenery thrown in. Does that make sense? Oh, there you have it there. Look at that. Just like I said.
There we go. So you can get all this. Let's see if they actually have a picture of the full set together. Well, they kind of do there, don't they? I think this is just a terrain set here. I don't know if you actually get any miniatures in this one. Let's have a look.
That's not bad.
Whether you're filling the shoes of the forces of order and defending your new home, or harnessing the powers of chaos, destruction, or death to defeat Sigmar on behalf of some rather dark and angry gods, a healthy helping of fresh scenery lets you recreate these brutal conflicts on your tabletop. So, nice scenery. I think we've seen this stuff before. I don't believe that we saw this tower previously, though, and you can see it in action there in the middle of the back of the battlefield there.
And that's what you get in that box set. But the thing is, if you've already bought Dominion, then I suspect, you're going to be probably selling some of these models. So I think we're going to be getting a lot of stuff come up on eBay soon.
The Extremist starter set, the largest of 3 brand new starter sets.
Yeah.
That's a lot of juice you get there.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's good.
Let's see what else we've got. We've got some Rumour Engine. What is that?
Ooh.
That looks a bit fantasy-like to me.
Is it some kind of barber's razor blade folded up?
If we hadn't just had some vampire hunting characters, I'd suggest those were stakes for hunting vampires there.
Looking at vampire hunters, Andy, I couldn't find those vampire hunters in the shops. Are they not out yet or something? Or
I don't know.
yeah, just saying.
Maybe they aren't. Bad Squiddo Games. Recurring subscription, you say, like the Andy 2D6 Patreon? Yes. That is a fine business model that everyone should invest in to support channels that they love. Unless it's a channel that isn't this one, in which case you should pull your money out for those other channels and plunge all those funds directly into Andy 2D6. A channel you can trust.
What would you do with those funds, Andy?
I would use those funds to continue producing top quality content and to push the content into bold new directions. With gaming opening up again, then it's going to be time for some sweet, sweet in-person battle report action. And with this big pile of new Stormcast, with the Caradron Overlords coming, with all the other game systems, and I can just give you a sneak peek of something that just arrived, in fact. So, Bad Squiddo Games, of course, commenting away there. And the last Bad Squiddo Kickstarter, which was for some new female Soviets World War II, winter particularly, then I backed that Kickstarter and have acquired now this box of goodies. Let's see if it'll let you see those. Look at all those. So, Bad Squiddo World War II female Soviets Kickstarters going out currently. I'll do some more on those soon, once I unbag them and sort them out a bit.
They look metal.
Yes, that is true. That's going to be a new army for me in the World War II realm. Very exciting times for Bad Squiddo customers out there. Nice.
Andy, what World War II game are you thinking of playing?
Well, I've only ever played Bolt Action, but I am aware that there are other 28mm World War II systems that I've never tried. So we shall see. At the moment, I've only got Belgians for World War II, which aren't exactly a mainstream faction, shall we say, in the community.
I don't think they lasted too long, didn't they?
They did not. They only lasted about 2 or 3 weeks in World War II, sadly.
Oh, man.
But somebody's got to play them. But I've got a bit of a more mainstream faction now, even though all the soldiers are going to be women, which is, of course, more of a niche.
Nice. And we're going to be getting together, aren't we? Next week, I think the plan is we're going to have an Age of Sigmar-a-thon, Age of Sigmar battle, and we might even have a Cursed City game.
Yes.
So I don't know, you might want to show some pictures, Andy, but yeah, I've painted almost half of my Cursed City box already.
We will get to those in a minute. I'll show off those pictures of your painted stuff, don't worry.
Lord knows what this clue is you've got there. I don't think anyone's really interested.
Well, are people interested in this? So, these brilliant event heroes will be available this Saturday for 9 days only.
Ooh.
A Stormcast, who's similar to all the other Stormcast heroes.
Oh, man, come on. Give us something. Well, yeah. Good? Is it good? Nice.
It's a nice model. It's a Stormcast. It's pretty standard as far as Stormcast goes. There's been a lot of these unique limited edition models in the Stormcast range over the last few years. Some people like to collect all of them. Some people just pick out one they like and then head over to Facebook and see if anyone's selling it for 3 times the original price.
Right.
So it is nice, but it's not
nice
really
models.
that wildly different from any of the others. And there's
No,
a Necron.
it's almost like they designed a load in one go and then just said, "Oh, these 2 extra ones here, we'll put them in some special release down the line."
Cedar is outraged and says, "How dare you? It's Dacian Anvil."
That's the name of that guy.
Well then, if they give him a name, that makes him much better.
He looks like a quite an old Age of Sigmarine warrior, doesn't he?
He is in the old style armor, yes,
Yeah, that's
it
what I'm trying to
appears.
say.
So yeah, I'm not sure about that either. But it does give you the idea that maybe they're not totally abandoning the other style of Stormcast. It's not like a Space Marine situation where the Primaris came out and suddenly all the others are just little stumpy Marines that get neglected.
Yeah.
So maybe the original Stormcast aren't just totally toast, or maybe they just sculpted a billion of these things and are slowly trickling them out, and they are actually paying no attention to the old Stormcast. Who knows? It remains to be seen, but we'll bring you the latest info on that as we find out. So, a bit of close-up there. It's a Stormcast guy. He's got a book, though. A book!
Now, Annie, don't mean to sound greedy, but didn't they say there'd be 9 models?
9 models.
At the start, they said 9 exclusive models. Just scroll to the top.
Oh, exclusive models. Those are, I believe, the ones you're thinking of are for the Warhammer Plus.
Oh,
that
no,
right?
if you just scroll up a little bit more there, you'll see what I'm saying.
Oh, will be available for 9
look.
days only. Oh, so you saw the word
Oh,
9.
right. Oh, I've missed
Okay.
it. So just them 2.
Yeah, 9
Oh,
days
okay.
only.
Yeah.
So if anyone's desperate for these, you haven't got much time. Sunday preview. Starter set, sorcery, and scenery steal the show. So actually, I think we've got some good pictures of all these starter sets now. So the warrior starter set comes with a bit of card terrain, a fold-up paper mat, some war scrolls, and some miniatures. There you go.
Yeah, this is good if you're like, yeah, if you're just getting into the game to start with. If I was an 11-year-old kid and I got this, I'd be very, very happy with it. I'd find that a lot of fun.
You want something notable about Dominion? No
Yeah.
dice
No dice? Wow.
and no measuring implements.
Okay. Interested.
Very interesting. Unless they're hiding in the box and I just totally missed them.
Well, what made you want to sell me your Cruel Boys? Don't you want to start collecting another army, Andy?
Well, I've already got the Stormcast, which I'm adding to, and I want to get back into the Caradron Overlords, and I thought that was quite enough. And I thought you could quite easily add the Cruel Boys to your existing greenskins under the banner of Kragnos, who's essentially a beastman, which is, of course, your first love in wargaming.
I mean, are me and you the only people to have said that? Are other people across the interweb saying that Kragnos should be a beastman?
If they're not, they certainly should be.
Right.
Then the Harbinger edition, which comes with a slightly bigger building and slightly more miniatures. Okay, and then the Extremis one, which comes with all this terrain, real terrain this time, and 2 pretty sizable forces actually. I'd be interested in looking at the numbers of each one compared to how many a recommended unit size is, so that if you add some of these sets together, maybe you get full units that you wouldn't get ordinarily with Dominion.
Yeah. I like the ones with the scenery in, and if you notice, they all seem to have hobgrots.
I think the hobgrots are the selling point for this.
You do?
I like
I
the
think-
hobgrots more than the regular
Yeah.
orcs.
I'm under the impression that they could be, sort of cannon fodder.
I think they probably are, but they do look nice. Anything else on paint sets? Not very exciting.
We've
And
got some new
that big terrain
paints.
set. Have we got
There's
actual new paints as well?
Yeah, there's Hobgrot brown. There's a sort of a greeny colour, and one more that I can't remember.
Presumably these are the colours that go with the new stuff. They'll put those in the new sets, I imagine. And let's see. Getting started book. And more scenery. And all that stuff looks... Let's see. But rules in the latest edition make them even more deadly. So that's just a bit of an update on the endless spells and so on. Nothing new there. And there's a giant... I think they're just getting new rules, I think. Maybe repackaged or something. But a giant space marine.
Yeah.
Very tall.
As a toy.
I think it's... I don't know if I'd class it as a toy exactly.
It's really well detailed. It's like a large toy, isn't it?
It is by a company with toys in the name, so maybe it is. And there is a Sister of Battle there as well. That looks good, actually.
Yeah.
Then, from Black Library, some books. Books. You heard it here first. Books! Okay, that's the end of that. Next. Now, I thought we had to have a look at this, because, as usual, doing my diligent research before the show, because this is top-notch entertainment that you should totally pledge your Patreon money to, I came across this on the Warhammer community, this article about a very impressive Seraphon army by one Brad Glover. And look at this. So we may have seen some of this stuff before. I've definitely seen some of it floating around. Nice play on words there. Floating around on the internet. And some nice slan action going on here. They're converted heavily using Necron parts, which seems to go together very well. And it's a very bizarre painting style I don't think I've seen before. It makes it look very... It's a bit abstract and shiny and...
It's pretty cool, man.
A bit cartoon kind of style.
There's some contrast paints in there. Yeah, I like the yellow, blacks and whites like feathers.
It's very impressive. And some of the big converted monsters here. Very, very nice.
Colin Mack has accurately pointed out that McFarlane Toys that have brought out the Space Marine, are founded by comic book artist Todd McFarlane, who created the Spawn comics after leaving Marvel Comics. There you go. Wow, what's that?
That's some kind of custom-built creature using lots of Necron bits.
Right, like a Stegodon or something.
Then we've got some skinks. And then we've also got what appear to be these chameleon skinks, maybe, but they seem to have guns on them.
Yeah, they look ace. I like them. Where did he get the headdresses from?
Who knows? And here's another one.
He's gone for a non-metallic gold paint scheme, hasn't he? Using the browns and the sort of muddy yellow colours.
It's very impressive. I think it'd be one of those where if you zoom right in on it, you'd think it doesn't make any sense, and as soon as you pull back, suddenly it all comes together and looks amazing.
Well, maybe he's long-sighted. Like I'm getting long-sighted, Andy. You know, something happened to me. When I paint close up, it all gets really blurry. So I went to my local shop and I bought these glasses, these long-sighted glasses, and everything's really blurry now. But if I put a model up close, it's like I can see the detail really well now. So it's
That's what happens to you in old age.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Just literally last couple of months.
Even Father Time catches up eventually with the likes of Old Man Remington. Now, this miniature here doesn't even fit on the screen. I'm going to have to scroll all the way up, but this is Lord Croak sitting on his magnificent throne. And look how vast this thing is.
I love that spirit at the top. It's like I got a slant headdress on.
It's on top of a Necron monolith, which is on top of a pyramid.
Yeah, absolutely superb that.
So that is quite ridiculous.
Just the steps of the pyramid, all individually painted.
And it looks like the base of the miniature is actually there as well, so you can take it off for gaming purposes, so it's of legal size over the course of the game. So you don't have to take this whole thing around with it. And look at that detail. So yes, it obviously a lot of this stuff does stand up to very close-up scrutiny because this is obviously a top-level painter. The bits I was referring to are the things like the giant white stripes, and if you zoom right in, you'd think, what's that? And then the further you pull back, these big, bold swooshes and highlights all come together, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching this on if you're watching this show on a phone, I don't know if you can appreciate it, but I've just blown these up on my big screen, and they look really good, man. Is that the new Croak model, that one, or is that an old one?
I believe this is the new one, converted heavily. I could be wrong, but I think it is. Then, look at it from this angle. See what's going on here. There's a bit of ghostly action that you were talking about. It's just a very impressive piece of work there. So I thought we should show that off. Now, we've got some impressive work from our own community. These were posted to the Andy and Rem Show Discord server. If you're not in there, you should be making your way over there right now and joining immediately, because you're missing out on all the red hot, sizzling, tender, moist, succulent, juicy, delicious, finger-licking good gaming action. And these are from Darb in there. So these are all rather flappy fellows. There's 4 of them. So there's the first one. Bit of blue bird action there. We've got a white one.
Wow. So what's this called? It's not a chimera, is it? I can't remember what it's called.
I can't even remember what this called. It's a bird with a snake tail. So I don't know. I don't know whether this is just a model that comes like that, or whether these are converted.
It's a cockatrice.
He's got to be in the chat, hasn't he? So he should tell us. If he's not there, I'll be very disappointed. So there's another one in that kind of goldish colour.
Yeah.
But very cool.
My favourite's the first one at the moment.
Well, there's all 4 of them together.
I mean, there's the middle one on the left. That's my favourite. They're all good, aren't they? Wow.
Very impressive indeed. So tell us exactly how these were made if you're hanging out there in the chat. If not, then just let us know in the comments afterwards. Then, these are from Fluke Skywalker on Discord.
Wow.
So a lot of very impressive Vargeists, Vargulfs. Look at that paintwork. Now, at first glance, when you see them from here, it looks like they're probably airbrushed. But I don't know how much of it actually is airbrushed, because from here, you can actually see a bit of like granularity going on. Like there's been some Remington dusting going on, rather than just airbrushed. So I'd be interested to hear from Fluke as well to find out how these were painted.
I do like those faces, and I've just been painting some bats in the Cursed City, and they are hard to paint. Bat faces, they're not easy, so I appreciate that paint job there, my friend.
Now we've got to your stuff. Speaking of Cursed City, so talk us through some of this new stuff.
Well, these were just quickly snapped before the show, literally at 1 minute before the show. Oh, look at that, the close-up test for Andy. Those rats still look pretty good to me.
Let's have a look.
There's 6 rat swarms there.
Let's give Remington the ultimate close-up test here. I think this one actually stands up pretty damn well. Look at that zombie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Actually, I'm quite impressed with that. I did all right, didn't I? Yeah. That was because I've got my new glasses, you see, for painting.
So Remington has taken his painting to the next level via having eyesight. Who would have thought?
Do you like that figure at the back, the big sort of Vargulf character?
That does look nice, actually.
It was actually quite a challenge to paint. It's like one of those that looks terrible until the last sort of 10% of the paint time you spend on it.
That's often the way with painting, though, isn't it? If you're doing them properly, then you often have to like break them down to build them up again.
Yeah. You get the base coats on and washes and layers, and then suddenly it still looks terrible. And then you start putting in the little detail, and it comes to life. I am pretty proud of my Jelson, the witch hunter character there. Perhaps I made the mistake of assembling him before I painted the face, because it was incredibly difficult to paint the face inside from underneath that hat there. But yeah, come out well. I've got 3 more rat swarms to paint.
Got some
Yeah,
close-ups of some of the baddies here, including that big beastie. I can see how that could be a challenge, that big one, because there's some very smooth flesh there, which can be challenging to paint and give some variety to the colour. It looks like you've done a good job on it, though. I'm sure the hairy part of the model is much easier to paint.
Yeah, I mean, I strike that balance between having good paint jobs, but not spending so long and making it unbelievably good when I've got so many figures to paint still, you know? So I think my painting is above tabletop standard. Perhaps it's not display cabinet level, but way better than average.
Yes.
That's where I put myself anyway.
Some other close-ups here of the witch hunter.
Yep, Jelson Derrock. And then this creature on the to the left of Jelson. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that. Sort of a ghoul / witch elf kind of vibe.
Very impressive.
So is this whetted your appetite, Andy, to play Cursed City with me? Oh,
It has actually, seeing all this.
Hey, that whole regiment of skeletons, and then I looked online, and then I realised almost everyone's painted the skeletons in those colours. I was like, oh man.
They do look good though.
Yeah, they were really nice to paint, actually. Enjoyed painting those. And with the wolf banner as well. I got some old Space Marine transfers and used that.
And finally, I think I've accidentally just dragged it out of the window. So let's just put that back. There you go.
Yeah.
Are those all the evil forces combined there?
Yeah, there's still like 9 more zombies to go. And they're incredibly detailed, so they're going to take some time for sure. And then after that, I think I've just got my heroes to paint, basically. Oh yeah, there's loads more bats. I didn't enjoy painting the bats. They're really hard to paint. There you go. So yeah. Oh, what's that, Andy? I saw my name there.
Nothing, just some
meme.
Just some subliminal thing you need to worry about. So, folks, it's been quite an adventure this week. But with every adventure, you need to have a period of relaxation, as you know. So, I believe it's time that we all take a seat around the edge of
Andy's deep bath.
That's right, it's time for Andy's deep bath. So, everyone, sit back, close your eyes, allow feelings of relaxation to wash over you, and as you sit, the bubbles...
Sorry, Andy, I need to get my COVID test done now.
Well, there's nothing more relaxing than that, so I'll let Remington go and get his nice relaxing COVID test, while I try and use the powers of hypnosis to swindle money out of the community. Okay?
I'll be in touch. I love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Don't quit the call, though, or you'll ruin everything.
Oh, okay. I'll stay on.
Yes.
But I've got to go.
Yes, off you go then.
Bye-bye.
We'll enjoy looking at your room while we're relaxing.
I love you. Bye.
Anyway, where were we? We were in the deep bath. COVID tests have been handed round to make sure it's all safe, so the safety measures have been reduced because, of course, everyone around the deep bath has tested negative for COVID, so it's all perfectly safe. Maximum relaxation. The bubbles are working their way up. And around the edge, you notice that on one particular side, certain people are being hand-delivered fresh, tasty snacks and delicious beverages. enhancing their relaxation experience. And you can identify some of those people as well by sight. Just as you're squinting through the relaxing mist, you can see who these lucky people are who have obviously pledged a sufficient amount of money to the Andy 2D6 Patreon to allow themselves this beautiful VIP experience. So these are the people that you can see around the edge. You can see Cedar, Roshi, Kim, John, Graham, Simon, Nippleless, Eric, Barbara, Brad, and Guy. All of those people seated around the edge in maximum comfort. Those of you who haven't pledged to the Patreon, of course, still get some minor relaxation, but it's not quite the VIP experience that you would like. So obviously you know the way to fix that, to pledge to the Patreon, of course. And what's this? Bubbles floating up with suggestive social media imagery, encouraging you to head on over and subscribe and follow the various social media outlets. Wild. You should be joining the Discord server, joining the Facebook group. Yes, following me on Twitter and Instagram even. All these things are what you should be doing. And, you know, just to totally ruin the relaxation, I just had a glance down and realised that last week's news is still scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You know what, I'm not going to let this stand. I'm going to update this before the end of the show. You can actually see the correct news. Okay, here we go. Let's see. What do we count as news this week? So there's that one. What else is news? There we go. That's news. And nope, can't have spelling mistakes in there. There's a good one. And let's see. Final news headline. There we go. Updated news. So you can have a quick look at that while the show's wrapping up. Remington is of course gone already. Let's have a look at the comments while everyone's checking out the correct news headlines. Let's see. Graham Rigg. In the lore, the original war in heaven was between the Slan and the Necrons. Interesting. And lots of compliments about the paintwork. So you can look forward to me painting soon. These Stormcasts that I've been assembling. I'm going to be working on some of those very soon. And what would you like to see me work on out of the Caradron Overlords Start Collecting box? I've got obviously the gun hauler in there and various miniatures that are phasing in and out of reality. Which ones of those would you like to see me work on? So lots of exciting things coming soon. Or perhaps you'd like to see me paint those World War II Bad Squiddo Soviets. Let me know. And if anyone hasn't checked out my spicy unboxing of the Dominion set yet, then you should be heading over to that after this show. It's very spicy, and spicy isn't just there as like a cheap buzzword descriptor of the video. It's actually very in keeping with the content. I'm comparing the contents of the box to various spices and matching them up. So, no false advertising there. Okay, let's bring up the episode thumbnail again as we wrap this one up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff that was mentioned in the slightly relaxing but slightly interrupted by Remington deep bath. And at this point, I think all that remains to be said, other than keep your eyeballs on this channel because more juice is coming soon, including battle reports, all that remains to be said now is good night out there, whatever you are, and keep it spicy.
It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer